The Heavenly Court and the Western Paradise are the two main government organizations in Journey to the West. This video mainly analyzes the differences in their ruling models from the perspectives of the relationship between politics and religion, and the central-local relationship. 1. The relationship between politics and religion. Heavenly Court. Separation of politics and religion. It is clear from Journey to the West that the Heavenly Court is derived from the Taoist system, and thus follows a separation of politics and religion model, where ideology and secular power are kept separate. The spiritual leaders of Taoism are the three pure ones: the primordial Lord, the Taoist Lord of Lingbao, and the Taoist Lord of Morality, Laozi. The political authority of Taoism is embodied by the Heavenly Court, with the Jade Emperor playing the role of a secular monarch. For example, in the banquet held at the Peach Banquet, the Taoist deities invited include the three pure ones and 4 emperors, who occupy the upper 8 caves, while the Jade Emperor is ranked in the middle 8 caves, below the 3 pure ones. This is somewhat similar to the relationship between the Pope and feudal kings in medieval Western Europe. Western Paradise. Integration of politics and religion. In contrast, the Western Paradise operates under a politics and religion integrated system, where the Buddha is both the spiritual and political leader. In other words, the ideology and secular power in the Western Paradise are unified. This integration of politics and religion allows the Western Paradise to form a highly structured, tightly centralized pyramid hierarchy. At the top is the Buddha, followed by various Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Vajra, Arhats, Vinaya, and monks. 2. Central-local relations. Heavenly Court. Feudal system. From the central-local relationship perspective, the Heavenly Court is relatively flat, with many factions and subpowers. The horizontal connections are quite loose, similar to the feudal system of the Western Zhou or the Holy Roman Empire of the Middle Ages, or the Targaryen dynasty in the TV series Game of Thrones. The Heavenly Court has many factions, which can be broadly divided into 2 categories: the Jade Emperor and his direct forces. This includes the Tai by Jin Xing, the pagoda-bearing Heavenly King, and his sons Naja. The 28 constellations, the 4 Heavenly Kings who guard the gates of heaven. Marshal Tian Peng, who controls the Heavenly River, the Water and Fire Star gods, and the Dragon Kings of the rivers and seas. The Jade Emperor represents the central authority of the Heavenly Court, and his direct forces are similar to the central territories and army of the Zhou dynasty's king in the Western Zhou, or the directly controlled lands of House Targaryen in Game of Thrones. To ensure control over his direct forces, the Jade Emperor has made adjustments to the 4 Heavenly Kings and the 4 Dragon Kings of the seas, the various factions or subpowers of the Heavenly Court. This can be understood as the various feudal lords under the feudal system. A representative example is the 5 lords invited to the Peach Banquet, including the Eastern Shenji Chongwen, the immortal elders of the 10 continents and 3 islands, the Northern Polar Lord of Zhuwenling, and the Central Huangji Huangjiao. Also included are the Taoist immortals from the upper 8 caves, such as the 3 pure ones, the 4 emperors, the Taiyi celestial immortals, the sea and mountain gods from the middle 8 caves, and the ghostly lords and earthly immortals from the lower 8 caves. Other notable figures include the barefoot immortal, the Taiyi Juku, heavenly lord of the eastern extreme Miao Rock Palace, the true martial emperor, and Erlang Shen of Guanjianku. These figures only come to the Peach Banquet to show up, and do not regularly clock in at the Heavenly Court or undergo performance evaluations. Western Paradise. Centralized system. Compared to the Heavenly Court, Western Paradise operates as a highly centralized system, clearly a form of centralized governance, somewhat similar to the later Qin Empire. On one hand, Western Paradise has a strict hierarchical system for its Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, forming a pyramid structure. At the top is the Buddha Tathagata. Next are the other Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Vajras, Arhats, Kittigarbha, and the monks and nuns. On the other hand, Tathagata's control over his subordinates far exceeds the Jade Emperor's control over the various factions in Taoism. Some of the Bodhisattvas in Western Paradise, such as Guanyan from the South Sea, Puxian from Mount Emi, Manjushri from Mount Wutai, Lingji from Mount Sumeru, and Balampo from Mount Ziyan, have their own temples and do not stay in Western Paradise all the time, which can be seen as sub-factions or smaller powers within Buddhism. However, these factions are just branches of Western Paradise's Thunderclap Monastery in the 4 great continents. Whenever major events such as the Ulambana festival are held, all the Buddhas, Arhats Kittigarbha, Bodhisattvas, Vajras, monks, and nuns in Western Paradise, including these figures, must attend. and they must perform rituals, such as bowing to the Buddha 3 times, and offering poems to show gratitude. They receive direct instructions from Tathagata. For example, when the Jade Emperor asked Tathagata to help suppress the rebellious Sun Wukong in the heavenly court, Tathagata instructed the Bodhisattvas to remain seated in the Dharma hall and not disrupt the meditation seats before setting out. After the Heavenly Peace Conference, there were 3,000 Buddhas, 500 Arhats, 8 great Vajras, and countless Bodhisattvas lined up under the sala trees to welcome Tathagata's return. 3. The specific manifestation of institutional differences between the heavenly court and Western paradise. The institutional differences between the heavenly court and Western paradise can be reflected in the following aspects: the degree of looseness and tightness in control, due to the separation of politics and religion, as well as the many factions. The control in the heavenly court is relatively loose. Sun Wukong could freely enter and exit the heavenly court, and the gatekeepers at the heavenly gate dared not stop him. In Chapter 4 of Journey to the West, when Sun Wukong was displeased with his low rank as the keeper of the horses and left the heavenly court in anger, the heavenly soldiers knew he had received the celestial decree and dared not stop him, allowing him to storm out of the heavenly gate. The same thing happened repeatedly. Monkey King chased the yellow-robed monster to the southern heavenly gate, entered through the western gate, and even helped the princess of Fengxin County pray for rain. The heavenly soldiers and kings dared not stop him. In contrast, the 4 great Vajras of Mount Ling dared to stop him. When Sun Wukong went to see Tathagata, due to the challenge with the great Peng Golden-Winged ROC, although the 4 Vajras were not as powerful as Monkey King, they still insisted, "If you have business, please wait for the announcement. You must only proceed upon summons." They also clearly stated, "This place is different from the southern heavenly gate. We'll teach you how to enter and exit, but no wandering around." Only when Tathagata allowed them to do so, did they step aside and let Monkey King enter. This shows that the palace regulations in Western paradise are far stricter than those in the heavenly court. The tighter organization in Western paradise is also reflected in its ability to perceive the strengths and weaknesses of the heavenly court. When the heavenly King Li failed to subdue the Flower Fruit Mountain, Guanyan recommended Erlong Shen to capture Sun Wukong. Later, she also recommended the star god of the bright sun, one of the 28 constellations, to eliminate the scorpion demon of Poisonous Enemy Mountain. Both of these recommendations were highly successful. The heavenly court not only failed to infiltrate Western paradise, but even its own strength was less clear to them than to Western paradise. Otherwise, during the first siege of Flower Fruit Mountain, they would not have sent the clumsy giant spirit god as the vanguard to battle Monkey King. Additionally, the loose management of the heavenly court is also evident in cases like the celestial being, Kuimu Lang, and the yellow-robed monster, where even deities descended to the mortal realm. In contrast, Western paradise never allowed any celestial being to descend. Different characteristics of subordinate sects. The subordinate sects of the heavenly court are like the vassal states established in the feudal era. Take Erlong Shen Yongzhen, for example. He follows orders, but does not abide by proclamations. He has his own troops and holds territories like Guanjinku, which allow him to independently enjoy worldly privileges. At the same time, Erlong Shen has the power to reward and punish his subordinates. For instance, when his 6 generals from Mycenae captured Sun Wukong and were preparing to present him to the Jade Emperor, Erlong Shen told them, "You have not received the heavenly blessing, so you may not meet the Jade Emperor. Wait until I've earned the reward, and we will share it when I return." What Yang Jian meant by not having received the heavenly blessing, so not allowed to meet the Jade Emperor, is similar to saying, without work experience, you cannot apply for the job. Without meeting the Jade Emperor, how can one receive the heavenly blessing? Even Sun Wukong, when he took the position of the stable overseer, had to meet the Jade Emperor first. In reality, it's easy to imagine that Erlong Shen was concerned about the heavenly court undermining his team, throwing stones, adding sand, and digging at his foundation. Therefore, he insisted on receiving the reward for capturing Sun Wukong himself, then redistributing it upon his return, holding the power of reward and punishment firmly in his hands. Otherwise, when they get to the heavenly court, what if the Jade Emperor says, "Ah, nephew, these brothers of yours look good. There's a vacancy in the central office. Let them stay." What would Yang Jian do then? In contrast, there is no subordinate like Erlong Shen in Western paradise who follows orders but ignores proclamations. Tathagata once publicly praised Guanyan for her immense spiritual powers. The forces of Guanyan's South Sea are indeed powerful. They not only include the 24 paths of the heavens, but also the Dharma Protector, Huayan the Walker, and the Bodhisattva of Wealth, and the Dragon Girl. Her mounts include the Golden Mane Hound, the king of spiritual power, the golden fish demon, and the yellow-maned, red-billed, white parrot. She also has the mischievous black turtle that carries the precious bottle. Later, Guanyin fully utilized the golden and restrictive headbands given by Tathgata to subdue the red boy and the bear demon, turning them into the wealth boy and the mountain protector, greatly expanding the power of the South Sea. Because of this, Guanyin's power is probably unmatched by any ordinary Buddha. In the eyes of the heavenly court, Guanyin from the south is able to stand alongside the many Buddhas, bodhisattvas, holy monks, and arhats of Western paradise, becoming a vassal of her own. Her power far surpasses that of the Buddhist sects at Mount Wutais, Manjusri, Mount Emus Samantabhadra, Mount Zumi's Lingi, and Mount Xian's Vimalanatha. Even though Guanyin's power is so great, she must still accept Tathgata's instructions. During the third Ulambana conference that initiated the journey for the scriptures, Guanyin accepted Tathgata's mandate to seek the scriptures-bearing pilgrim from the east. Later, in response to Guanyin's growing power, Tathgata publicly reprimanded her. In the episode of the True and False Monkey King, Tathgata, knowing full well that Guanyin had already failed to distinguish between the real and fake Monkey King at Mount Puchua in the South Sea, asked knowingly in front of everyone, putting Guanyin in an awkward position. Guanyin, esteemed one, can you tell which of these two pilgrims is the real one, and which is the false one? Guanyin could only reluctantly admit her failure. The other day, in the disciples' desolate land, I couldn't tell them apart. I have come to inform Tathgata and beg you to clarify the matter. Tathgata was very pleased and laughed, saying, "Your powers are vast. But you can only observe the events of the universe. You cannot recognize every object in the universe, nor can you encompass all the various forms of the universe." In front of all eyes, Tathgata exposed the persona of Guanyin as having boundless powers and knowing all past and future events. The flow of exceptional talent. One major issue with the feudal system is that each vassal state has the power to select talent, which often leads to the best talents being poached and not serving in the central government. The Jade Emperor faced this problem. The Heavenly Court's intelligence network, including the eyes of 1,000 miles and the ears of the wind, was so poor that they couldn't even figure out the name and background of Monkey King, or where he studied his craft. Meanwhile, the Book of Life and Death in the Underworld accurately recorded Sun Wukong's age and name. The name Sun Wukong was given to him by the Patriarch Bodhi when he was learning his craft, showing just how meticulous the Underworld's registration system was. Even in the same mission to suppress Flower Fruit Mountain, the 100,000 heavenly troops under the command of Li Tianwang were not as powerful as Elongshen's 6 generals from Mysian and the 1,200 grass-head gods. Furthermore, in their one-on-one battle, Naja, a mighty god serving in the heavenly palace, was no match for Monkey King. However, the 9-headed lion, Yuan Shenger, of Taiyi Juku, Tianzun, was able to effortlessly capture Sun Wukong without armor or weapons. At Wuzhuangguan, Zhenyonzi caught Sun Wukong and the others with a single move. Sleeve Universe. Unfortunately, these top-tier talents never entered the central administration of the Heavenly Court, which inevitably causes some ambitious immortals to lament, like Jia Yi, being exiled to Changsha. In contrast, the best talents in the Western Heavens were all recruited by Tathgata, thus achieving the effect of all the heroes of the world fall into my grasp. For example, Tathgata recruited the incredibly powerful Da Peng, Sun Wukong, Niu Mo Wang, and the Huangmao Taoshu Huang, Feng Guai, who mastered the 3 mystic winds, to Ling Mountain, greatly strengthening the central power. Although Guanyin had also detained talents, like the Red Boy and Zhan Pai Gui, and Vikraba captured the centipede demon, they pale in comparison to Tathgata. By comparing the governance models of the Heavenly Court and the Western Heavens, we can see that the free-spirited nature of the Heavenly Court granted immortals some autonomy, but it also led to loose control and a loss of talent. In contrast, the efficient centralization of the Western Heavens allowed Tathgata to firmly control the entire Buddhist world, with a tightly organized system and a wealth of talent. Overall, the management model of the Western Heavens is more efficient, while the Heavenly Court seems somewhat Buddhist-like, laid back. However, this difference is precisely what makes the 2 divine realms in Journey to the West so appealing. The free-spirited nature of the Heavenly Court gave Sun Wukong the opportunity to wreak havoc in the Heavenly Palace. On the other hand, the iron-fisted rule of the Western Heavens ensured the smooth progress of the journey to the West. So, which management model do you prefer? Is it the Jade Emperor's Buddhist-style management, or Tathgata's dictatorial CEO style?